Let's go. Let's make this happen. All right. What's your name again? Vlad.
Ivan.
Oh, Ivan.
It's another Russian.
I
But
thought it was Vlad. So, Ivan, where would you say your current pain points are in your communication are?
So as I told you, I always have social anxiety.
Okay.
I definitely dealt with it during my life, but I'm still hesitant to speak with people. I need to have a lot of motivation to speak with someone.
Yeah. So you use a lot of energy just to be able to speak to anyone in general.
I need to think about what am I going to say, like maybe play a few different scenarios in my head.
Yeah.
Overthinking is definitely big. Yeah.
Yeah. Overthinking. You said something earlier about struggling to improvise on the spot.
Yeah, I'm not good in improvisation. That's why I'm overthinking.
Yeah. Got you. And then social anxiety, it stops you with being able to do what in your business, in your work, or in social life?
Oh, yeah, that's big. Right now, when I'm starting my business, I know that I should be doing workshops, some talks, and stuff. It's going to be very beneficial for me, but I'm always avoiding that. But I'll probably do it.
And why? So when you do workshops, I run a lot of workshops. Like I do so many workshops. What is it? The fear of being stood in front of an audience and delivering your message?
Not so much. I had that before, but right now it's more about not being able to show authority, expertise.
Okay.
Being seen as someone who's not very knowledgeable or something like that.
Okay. This is a loud board. Okay, so what I'm going to give you for free is this. It's called Aristotle's Triangle of Rhetoric. And you have ethos, pathos, and logos. And I'm going to give you something else which comes from acting, is learn your lines. That doesn't mean learn things word for word, and do your research.
Mm-hmm.
So information
Yeah.
and key points. So when I say learn your lines, I basically mean learn your key points that you try to get across. So you have a structure to when you do your workshop. You basically have, what I've done here is I've got the initial stage, this is where I find your problems, and then this is my story in between, and then how I solve it at the end. So learning your lines would be learning the most key points of what your workshop is about.
Like an agenda.
Yeah, having a structure to your video or presentation, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And then within that you can improvise, because improvisation doesn't just mean thinking out of the blue. You have to have a structure. And one thing that I like to compare it to is even the best jazz pianist who is improvising knows where every single note is on the piano, knows every single chord, and can pull from the structure of the instrument, which is the piano. But if you put him on a saxophone, he ain't gonna have a fucking clue. Yeah. So you have to have your structure, your field, your knowledge, but you need to know it back to front to back. When I learnt my lines as an actor, I'd need to know how to do it forward and backwards, just so it embedded in my head.
Holy shit.
And I did a Shakespeare play which had the most lines of any other person on stage. I had 420 lines or something, because I was playing 3 characters that was like throughout the whole show. And then that's blocked into the structure of the play. So the structure of your workshop would be a beginning, middle, end, whatever the context is. You then need to do your research so you know this information. So the fact that I have experience in doing all of this and have experienced every single one of these things, I have the research because I've experienced it, I've lived it, it's my life. This is why I do what I do, because I overcame these things. And the logic triangle, the triangle of Aristotle, give me 2 seconds, let me see if that's still filming. There it is. So the triangle of Aristotle, ethos is your credibility. This is something that you need to be aware of whenever you're delivering anything in terms of education, speaking, politically, any conversation that requires you to publicly speak. By speaking publicly, you'll be pulling across these, which are about 2,000 to 3,000. Well, it's like a 3,000-year-old thing. It's from Greek times, Aristotle.
Yeah.
So the credibility and trust comes from your experience and your research and what you know and are what able to reel off in any moment. Pathos is emotion. So when you speak, are you appealing to the person's emotion? Like, what do you want them to feel? How do you want them to feel? What do you feel when you speak this? What energy center are you speaking from your body? And I don't mean like yogic, like chakras. It's the same thing, but I learned this as an actor, that when you choose to act as a character, you choose where their energy is centered. So if someone's energy is in the end of their nose and they lead with their energy, it creates a character of someone who's, curious and inconspicuous and feels like someone, they look down the nose. And that's just putting energy into the nose. So if you put energy into your heart when you speak to someone, then you're going to connect to that person's heart as well. And this is where the word resonance comes from, because you're then vibrating at a frequency that resonates from your heart to another person's heart. And if you don't know this and you're not aware of it, and your breath doesn't go into the parts of these bodies, like the part of your body where you need to deliver that, then it's not going to land. That's how a message resonates, because it's vibrating at a certain frequency from an energy center delivered using the voice and the breath. So that's my area of expertise that I have experience in from my whole life. So emotion, that's how I invoke emotion from you. Notice how when I spoke to you, then I actually dropped into my heart to deliver that. Did you feel that in your heart?
Yeah, a little bit.
There we go. Logos, this is logic. This is, are my arguments, are my facts and data, etc. Everything I'm giving you, is it backed by a logical place? Is it coming from somewhere that makes sense? Have I got the experience in it to be able to deliver this to you? And so when you put your workshop together, you need to appeal to emotion by drawing upon your credibility and your trust. This is your experience. This is why you're stood in front of people. And then being able to pull from like actual facts. Is it factually right?
Yeah.
Like, some people can fake the facts as long as they deliver them with sounding like they're trustworthy and by appealing to emotion. And that's how you get manipulated. But if you have actual facts that then create emotion and use your experience and the backing of it, then see how it all ties into each other. So when you put that into there, when you go to a networking event, you then already know that you have all of this behind you. You have your research, and more than anything, which we learn in acting, is having an intention before you even step foot at the networking event. Before you even go there, what's my intention at a workshop? What's my intention at a networking event? It's basically, I want to connect with people. Why? So this is a why. And then we use a Stanislavski technique, which is an acting technique, again, of what are my given circumstances. And it's basically who, what, where, when, why, how, and for what reason. Answer these questions before you even attend a networking event. Why am I here? Who do I want to meet? Where is it? What do these people listen to? What do they like? Like, you do all this research into who you want to speak to, and that's your research that you can then bring in to an event, basically. And that's how you run the workshop, by going over it, and always have a curious mind and be willing to learn about other people's.
Yeah, that's very important.
And then this one, specifically, let me check my camera. Yeah, we're still rolling. Social anxiety requires, this is where I think I'm going to create some sort of offer where I get to do it. This is the in-person work that really needs to be done, because this is how I learned to get over social anxiety, was putting myself in real life situations where I had to do knocking doors around London and for a job. I also had to sell flowers in the streets of London, like stopping people to try and speak to them. But social anxiety starts with how you basically walk out the front door in the morning and how you start your day, who you speak to, how you speak to them. There's the video I showed you earlier on. There's another one on there of basically being charismatic and using your charisma, and you're basically building social mobility throughout the day, so it compounds to the point where when it comes to meeting someone who is of where you perceive them to be in a higher position, you're already warmed up. You're not just going in cold to try. It's not a cold approach. Cold approach is because you're cold. If you make yourself warm by being social from the moment you order your coffee in the morning, and like, hey, how you doing? And just open up conversation with low stakes interactions, that will, like I said, compound. You said hello to the guy who was, you just nodded and said hey to a guy who walked past you, then order a coffee, you have a conversation with the person in the coffee, you turn around in the queue and go, oh my God, this is a nice day today, isn't it? And just slowly compound that. By the time you get to any sort of networking event, you'll have bypassed overthinking. You will not be hesitating because you've broken through that multiple times, and it just builds and builds and builds. And then you build social mobility, which then kills this. And you don't need to drink alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's a fast, very quick way to improve your communication and remove this, but it requires reps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reps that have to be put in.
Reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that with reaching out girls before when I was learning to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I already passed some parts of the progress, and
Yeah.
I had success, but I know it's different for workshop events and stuff.
Great thing
Or maybe
about
it's the same.
great thing about this as well is this basically already gives you what is the most important thing, and it's frame. And your frame is a mixture of your emotions. It's a mixture of what you have in your life. And when you speak, like if you haven't got a strong frame to begin with, there's no point going to speak to a girl, because she'll shatter you emotionally, right? You'll yes, it's great to get exposure therapy to speaking to women and chatting them up, but you have to have something to bring them into. And that goes for work and networking. If you don't have a strong frame of your business, you don't know where you're at with your frame. Like, so say you don't fully know what it is that you do, and you're unable to, and you can't express, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, and then when you go to a networking event, someone says, what do you do? You're like, you've already lost before you walk through the door.
Yeah.
So you've got to build the frame of, this is what I do, this is my research. You know, like I go to the gym, I have a spiritual practice, I have a great relationship with my friends, I have good food in my life, I have my hobbies, I have my creative expressions, I have all of the things I love to do. Once this frame is strong, then this bit, which is just girls in general, like women, that's a tiny little bit. The rest of it is so strong that one bit goes, you're adding into a frame that is already existing. And then that takes away a lot of the feelings of, oh, I'm not good enough, why would she speak to me? You've already built a frame and a life that you're so happy with and comfortable in,
Yeah.
that she is just an addition rather than taking over the whole frame.
Yeah.
Sadly, a lot of men, as soon as they get this girl, they remove this, they remove that, they remove this, remove this. And then as soon as she leaves, you're left with a frame with nothing in because you let her take up the whole fucking frame.
Yeah.
And then she's gone. And then you're like, oh shit. And then when they talk about rebuilding your life, that's when you bring back in, oh, right, what was I missing? I wasn't training, I wasn't working on my communication, I wasn't building social mobility. I wasn't, you know, that I stopped speaking to other girls like outside of my house because my wife was jealous. I'm like, at the end of the day, if you want to be able to communicate and build, like keep the skills, you've got to keep doing it. And you're not chatting women up to get with them. You're just having conversations because you're being friendly and you value connection. You value like speaking. Yeah. You want to build that thing. So that's for approach anyway. It's so many people to speak to. That, like I said, the guys on Instagram that always talk about approach. That's great, but that's great to get numbers and maybe have a date and maybe some sex. But if you want like an actual partner or like a girlfriend long term to come into your life, all of this needs to be there. So, and that basically always comes down to intention. What do I want? Where am I going? Who is it I exactly want? Like, yeah. I basically wrote down the type of woman I want, and from hair color to everything. And she walked into my life, literally into a bar, whilst I was speaking to my female friends about what it is I kind of like in a woman. And then she walked in, and next week I'll have been with her for a year.
That's great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So again, it comes down to that who. If you know who you want to speak to when you're at the workshop, if you know who you want to speak to when you go to network, they'll appear. Talks about this in it talks about this in the book Think and Grow Rich as well, about once you know what it is you want and who it is.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah. They just appear. The right people appear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Intentions,
always. You can't do it without. And that all comes down to your values, your goals.
Yeah.
What intention do you have to achieve the goal? Are you living in your values? It all just comes down to basic coaching principles of building that frame. In that frame, you have your goals. In that frame, you have your values. Like my top 3 values are freedom of expression, connection, and being of service. If nothing aligns with those 3, I don't want to fucking know. I don't want anything to do with it.
I've been spending time in the last year defining those.
Yep.
The values, I know what are my values, but I have troubles with the purpose. So I don't know what's my purpose yet.
Your purpose is to find things that align with your value.
Sounds like it, yeah.
It always comes back to value. For me, my purpose. So if I value freedom of expression, my purpose is to find places where I can freely express. And that means poetry nights, improvisation, singing, karaoke, finding gigs, speaking at events, speaking in general, doing what I'm doing right now.
Exactly, I was going to say that.
Yeah, and also in the midst of that, I then connect, and I also am of service and find myself being useful.
Yeah. So everything clicks.
Everything always comes back to those top 3 things. And the purpose for me, and I had a client last year who wanted me to help him find his purpose. He worked in finance in New York and he quit after burnout. And in the end, he valued freedom, being able to travel and be explorative in life. And so he found a job teaching English in Thailand. And it was as simple as that. And now he's happier.
Yeah.
And he's not doing drugs.
My first value is freedom, so
freedom.
I relate to that.
Exactly. So what do you I can't even spell freedom. Freedom is a value. So your purpose is to find things that bring you freedom, which is money, business, lifestyle, business. What else do you have?
Traveling, like travel together with someone, because my second value is connection, and I want a serious relationship, commitment now.
Yeah.
Financial independence as much as I can.
That comes down to freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
Connection, and what's the third value?
Growth.
Growth.
Yeah.
Mentally and
all kinds, like curiosity, mentally, self-improvement.
Yeah, so you value growth, connection, and freedom. So your purpose is to find things that allow all of this. Purpose doesn't necessarily mean, oh, I need to make $100,000 a year or a month or whatever it is. That's a result of aligning yourself with your values.
Makes a lot of sense.
Once you have this, you'll feel stronger in your frame. The anxiety will go because you're confident in who you are, what you want, where you're going. Do I only do things that align here? When you do a workshop, you'll already be able to be free in your expression because you'll have done your research. You'll know exactly the key points you want to say, and you know exactly how you want to communicate with your audience.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, man.
All good.
It's great. That's
Nice.
golden.
That's like a quick workshop.
Yeah. Did you get any valuable things from me?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Waiting for the content.